Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Six Hockey Podcast. I'm your host, Elias Dracos, but happy to be back today at the Six Hockey Studios. And of course, I am joined by the legendary Samuel Brzezowski and Simon Hendricks. Gentlemen, how's it going?
I'm pretty great, Elias. I'm very happy that you're back. It's been a little bit since we've recorded a podcast together. It's been too long, in all honesty. I'm very excited. Thanks for calling us legendary, by the way. But yeah, I'm excited to talk about some hockey again.
Yeah, I'm happy to revisit our earlier podcasts and just happy to have a fresh face in the office because it's been a whole lot of Simon.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. There's been a few times during a broadcast where I look at Sammy and I'm just like,
yeah, when Simon's just doing none of the work and just kind of coasting along, it's been really tough for him, I bet.
Yeah, big time.
Settle down, gentlemen. There'll be lots of points of disagreement today, I think. So we're basically today, we're going to see how your predictions have held up since the last time, of course, before the NHL season started. And yeah, like we'll see what you guys picked, how everyone's doing, and go from there. You guys ready? Excited?
Yeah, so just for clarification, in case you missed it, we did 2 episodes, one of which was an NHL season preview where we picked our breakout teams, breakout players, and Stanley Cup final predictions way too early in advance. This was during the preseason or just before the preseason. And the second video we did was a power ranking of all the Canadian teams. That one ain't looking so good on at least my end for sure. So I'm definitely going to be eating some crow for that one. You never heard that?
Eating some crow?
Yeah, that's
I said that a while ago.
Yeah, I'm sure he did. He sounds like a guy who would say that for sure. But yeah, I'm ready to get things going.
Okay, why don't we start here then? Underdog team that will be good. Now this season, which you guys both picked, of course, prior to the season beginning. Sammy, let's start with you. You picked the Detroit Red Wings. I have to say, this pick is looking really, really good right now. Why don't you elaborate a little bit?
Yeah, so I picked Detroit simply because they just are a fun team. They got Patty Kane, Dylan Larkin with their leadership, so I thought they'd be a solid team. And I thought they'd be, like, competing for a wild card. You know, they haven't had a lot of playoff success the last few years. I don't know if you guys are familiar. But they're first in the Atlantic right now. Right now, they are first in the Atlantic, the probably most competitive division in hockey, and they're killing it. I don't know why they're killing it. They have 2 guys that are over a point per game. Their goalies aren't even that strong. Gibson's batting like a .904, which is not a great save percentage. And Cam Talbot is under .900. So there's no real reason, like there's no on-paper reason why. It's not like, oh, they picked up Elias Dracos and he has 90 points already. No, I think it's just a solid hockey team with good defending. Both goalies do have a goals against average under 3, and I'm glad it's that my pick is kind of settling in right now.
I've been back here, 5 minutes, and I'm already catching a stray.
You got 90 points.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you got 90 points.
Yeah.
I put up 90 points often. Let's go with that. Anyway, Simon. Why don't we go to your team now, the Utah Mammoth? And right now, they're first they have the first wild card spot, rather.
Mm-hmm.
Not looking too shabby either.
No, not at all. Like Sammy's prediction with Detroit, I believe that Utah was going to be a wild card team in the West this year, which they are. I got my prediction spot on. Sammy got his prediction wrong because he said that Detroit was going to be a wild card team. They're actually first in the Atlantic, so technically he's wrong. I was more right when it comes to that sense. Just kidding.
My team's doing better.
Just kidding. But yeah, like similar situation to Detroit where they actually don't even have a single player above a point per game. Clayton Keller, he's right there with 49 points in 50 games. Nick Schmaltz, Dylan Guenther. That top line for them is looking really, really good. They're all hovering around a point per game.
Can I interject and just ask how very good defenseman Sean Durzi is doing this season?
They really need goaltending because their D-core is very top-heavy. They have Sean Durzi and Sergachev, who are very good defensemen for sure. But other than that, they have...
Chill with the V word there.
Mikhail Sergachev is a very
That's
very
obviously
good
not who
defenseman.
I'm talking about.
Sean Durzi, former Leaf. Okay, sorry.
We're going to call Sean Durzi very good now.
Well, very good defenseman Sean Durzi only has 13 points in 29 games. He has been injured for a little bit.
What's that plus minus read?
Yeah, it's minus 9.
I can't read it. Oh, okay. Minus 9.
Oh, I didn't know plus minus was like the
very incredible defenseman Sean Durzi.
Okay, But so I was wrong on the one player who I said might have a good season. But John Marino, he's batting a plus 30.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
So, and even Nate Schmidt, a plus 25. That's their best D pair right now. That second line D pair for them is doing really, really well. Whereas Mikhail Sergachev, he has -5, 33 points in 50 games, though, as a defenseman. He's kind of trying to prove himself to be their top defenseman and one of the top number one defenseman options in the league. I don't think he's there quite yet. I don't think he will ever be there, honestly. We're saying the same thing. You're giving me a look.
I think, first of all, I said a much more concise thing, but Sergachev, I think he's aged out of being the number one defenseman role. I think he had a chance at one point.
Well,
but
that's exactly my point,
I
right?
don't think he's...
Yeah, exactly. But still, he's still an incredibly versatile defenseman. JJ Peterka, they traded him to Buffalo. Oh, sorry, they got him from Buffalo by trading Josh Doan earlier in the season. He's having a really good year. And they're doing all of this without Logan Cooley for the past 20 games or so. He's only played 29 games, almost at a point per game pace. When he comes back later in the year, which he should, I think they're going to really solidify themselves as a wild card team. I think when he comes back as their, most skilled player, they will lock in a playoff spot. So I'm very happy with my Utah Mammoth pick, which is probably the best pick of this video. Everything else I got completely wrong.
But you did also mention Cooley would be the driving factor of this team. So the fact that they are performing without him is pretty solid.
Yeah,
Keller's
exactly.
looking
really
really good.
He's looking very, very good.
Really
he is. Yeah. My other picks are really bad, though. I'm going to say that off the bat.
We'll get to that. But, okay, your breakout players now. Sammy, you took Mason McTavish.
All I have to say about this one, there's still time. He's projected for 50 points. He got 52 last year. He's on a bad Ducks team, obviously. His teammate in Leo Carlson has jumped a lot higher and taken that next step, the one that I kind of hoped McTavish would take. I remember before we made the videos, it was between those two, but I went with the Canadian. McTavish, he's a solid player. I think he can still take that extra jump, but yeah, he has 13 goals, 17 assists through 50 games, which is all right, projected 50 points. Only 16 minutes and 6 seconds of ice time, so, not one of the top forwards in terms of that, but there's still time is all there's really to say, because he hasn't broken out yet, but maybe he will. There's still 30 games to go.
Yeah, there is still time for sure for Mason McTavish. And, lest we forget, the Ducks, Sam loves when I say that, the Ducks were a very good team to start the year. They were first in the Pacific for, I think, the first month or two of the NHL season, and then the past, month and a half or so, they've won like 4 games.
They came back to earth a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. And that was when you saw Leo Carlson. He was third in the league in points for like a 3-week stretch.
He was on my fantasy team, and he was a solid.
Yeah, he was a stud.
He
still is an absolute stud.
Keep in mind, the Ducks are in a playoff spot right now.
Are they really?
They're third, yeah.
Wow.
Pacific, so they're still. I mean, they've dropped off, of course, from where
they are rapidly. I mean, in the last couple games, they've brought it back. They have won 5 of their last 5 games.
Wow. All right. Well, listen to that.
But thank you, Elias, for that. But I think before that, they were on a bit of a skid because they've won 5 of their last 5. I'm going to stick with that now. But prior to that, they lost 5 for 5. So they're 5-5 in their last 10.
Right.
So that's that's an Anaheim Ducks team if I've ever seen one.
Yeah.
You're not the only one.
But yeah, I mean, the Ducks, they've been in this rebuilding process, and Mason McTavish was kind of the guy where everybody was like, okay, this is the guy we're going to try to, build a bit of a core around. He was the first big piece on that forward core before Leo Carlson and Beckett Seneca was there, right? I mean, him and Zegras, they were kind of the 1-2 punch for that team back in the day. Back in the day, I mean like 2 or 3 years ago. But yeah, no, I do know what you mean, where it maybe not as much of a breakout as one would hope for a player of his talents and his play style, but he's still a very good player, and you're right, there's still time for him.
And there's still time for your guy as well.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so Simon, your guy was Logan Stankoven. Again, Just kind of a not bad pick, I would say, but I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, he's at about half a point a game right now. He's projected for 40 points, 10 goals, 15 assists in about 51 games. In 51 games. The thing with Logan Stankoven for me, I thought that because when he was traded from Dallas to Carolina for at the trade deadline last year in the Rantanen deal, obviously he was going to have a bit of a tough time adjusting to a new team. So I thought coming into this year, you have the summer to build your foundation with the Carolina Hurricane. I thought Rob Brindamore would really, really like him, which I'm sure he does. But he's only averaging about 15 minutes of ice time a game, which to me is like he's kind of fluttering between that second line, third line center. Maybe he gets on the penalty kill, but maybe not on the power play at all. I thought he would have a bit more ice time and a bit more of a role on Carolina. But then you look at Carolina's roster, Sebastian Aho, he's the first line center, not even close. Andrei Svechnikov, he's having a pretty good bounce back year. He's got 42 points, 17 goals in 50 games. Like Ehlers, that was a big pickup for them this offseason. So
I forgot about that.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
right.
And probably the breakout player of the Carolina Hurricane, Jackson Blake. He's put up 16 goals and 30 points in 51 games. So even he's having a bit of a better breakout year than Logan Stankoven. So
Son of Leafs legend, Jason Blake.
that is very true.
Number 55.
There you go, Sammy.
Anthony?
Is it Carolina Hurricanes or the Carolina Hurricanes?
Hurricanes?
You've been saying hurricane.
Simon's not very good at reading. Actually, I know this is unrelated, but it's really important to me. We also do broadcasts, as you know, at the Six
This is gonna
Hockey,
get cut
and
anyway.
we have roster sheets. And we have roster sheets. And so the name will read Simon Hendricks. And Simon will look at it and read it as like Cutter Gauthier. He can't read, and it's a really tough problem.
He probably could have been your breakout player, for God's sake.
Okay, I also want to dive into something else that we should have done back then as well, but a team that you thought was going to underperform and not be good at all this year.
Oh,
And for me, that team right now has to be the New York Rangers. They've been having such a rough year, guys.
well, you know
They're
what?
a tough go.
They have, but at the same time, they were also the Canucks as well.
discuss that.
We'll discuss that in a little bit when we talk about our Canadian teams. The thing about the Rangers for me was like they weren't even good last year when they traded for JT Miller, right? Like even after they traded for JT Miller around just before the trade deadline last year, they still weren't very good with him on the team. And this year it's just kind of been the same. Their home record was abysmal, probably still is.
Yeah.
Shout out to producer Anthony who went to go see the Rangers game at MSG.
He did some scouting for us, and he said it was really, really quiet.
Yeah,
They won. It was one of their 2 home wins.
yeah, exactly.
Overtime.
Yeah, in overtime they won, says producer Anthony. But he said it was quieter than Scotiabank Arena, which that is saying something.
So the Rangers' home record is 5-13-4. That's not
That's
good.
really tough.
That's not good.
That is not good at all.
They mentioned that they're not going into a full rebuild right now, but
Should
they're
be.
kind of just retooling.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
I think Chris Drury said that.
Yeah, Chris Drury did say that.
I don't know how I feel about retooling. I feel like, actually, I think a good way to look at it is we'll look at the Leafs and see how that kind of comes to pass. But retooling is hard to make work because you kind of either got to reset or you kind of got to get rid of everybody for it to really work out. But with the Rangers, they still have Shesterkin, right? They still have some big names that could get it going. Lafreniere's still playing hockey.
He's still playing hockey.
I don't know
That's some good analysis.
if he's gonna break out like he was expected to. But yeah, they're just not good now.
The thing that boggles my mind about the Rangers is they have Panarin, who had 140 points a few years ago. Still really good. Still 56 points in 50 games. Don't get me wrong. And Mika Zibanejad, he's having a pretty good bounce back year.
He's Zibanejad's pretty solid. He's reliable.
Yeah,
Trade Panarin, do they not?
Hmm?
They want to trade Panarin.
Yeah,
That's when you know they're rebuilding.
Well, I was just gonna say, you have all these star players and no, maybe not Zibanejad, but Panarin, JT Miller, even Vinny Trocheck, the Olympian, Vinny Trocheck.
Stop calling him Vinny, like you're friends.
We are friends.
You're not friends.
No,
you
I'm
have
not.
3 friends, and
Friend of the show.
they're all in the room right now.
But yeah, I
Like
mean,
2.5, but okay, you know that's.
Yeah, Elias is pretty short. He doesn't count for
Yeah.
a full one.
Oh,
yeah. Bird.
Wow.
got
Bang.
him. Got him.
Bang. Double bang.
I feel like the same height as you, am I not?
Yeah, if you're on, if you're on,
if
you're on
high-
stilts.
if you're on high heels there. Oh my
Maybe,
god.
you got a little.
It's the hair. It's the rat nest on top of his head. It adds about a few inches.
Why don't we take a look at what Simon's hair looked like the last preview that we had? Let's take a look right now. That is terrible.
yeah.
The rat nest, he calls him.
You look awful.
Okay, well, I don't
You
know
look
about
like
awful.
you look like you got caught in the rain wearing a toupee.
Hey, why don't you clean your glasses a little bit, my friend?
I lost the glasses
smudges on these bad boys.
Let's
are-
go ahead and take a look at the time we
No,
interviewed
let's not
Caleb
look- let's not look
Malhotra,
at the- Let's not look at
and
the
we look at
glasses.
Simon's glasses angle.
What?
That's bad.
Yeah, so I do think that the Rangers have been overwhelmingly disappointing.
Let's take a look at Simon's valedictorian.
Oh God, let's not take a look at that. Jesus. All right, jumping back on topic. Another to your point, the retooling stuff is very difficult, and when
my
people
point.
it's
pointed
a
out Elias.
it's a conglomeration of points that we're making here. Retooling's tough, and when you say you want to trade Artemi Panarin, trading your best player who's been your best player for years and kind of the face of the franchise, that to me is a rebuild. You know.
Yeah, I mean you're right. I think that's the first sign that they're like, okay, it's over. Like pack it
Yeah.
up. And I do have like chatter in my inbox right now that the Dodgers are actually looking to pick them up.
I mean, they got the farm system to do it. I'm sure they have the budget for it. For God's
Here's
sake.
something funny. I think Harry Styles, remember, somebody's coming to perform next year at MSG. And so they're saying the Rangers might not play a game until November in their home building.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
Which is like insane to me. I mean, at this point, they're probably not that upset about it. But
No, I was gonna
Well,
say.
yeah, I was just gonna say that might
So
help them.
they're-
That might help them.
They're
Yeah.
586 points percentage wise away this year. That's not that
Yeah.
bad.
No, that's not bad
You
at
know?
all.
if only they can get that home record up a little bit.
318 at home.
Yeah, that's bad.
30 nights at MSG, Harry Styles.
30 nights.
30 shows at MSG.
He has like 8 songs.
Lots of shows.
How many watermelon sugar highs are going to be at MSG?
Yeah, he's just gonna be
That's
singing "As It
insane.
Was" every single night in New York.
That would
Yeah.
be very, very unusual. But the amount of home games they would have in a row after that.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
that's just the thing, right?
Why don't we move on now to your guys' way too early Stanley Cup predictions? I'll remind the viewers at home, these are not that great. No, I'm kidding.
Well, they're not.
Sammy's prediction was Florida and Dallas. Simon's prediction was Florida and Vegas. On the west, on the west side of things, I could very, very well see both of those playing out. Florida's in a tough spot right now.
Yeah. So we made those predictions before the Barkov injury happened, which right from there, you knew that their season wasn't going to be the same with their best player. And then, shortly after that, Matthew Tkachuk goes down early in the year, and he's still not coming back. Not too sure when he's going to return. That's still up in the air for sure. I don't think I think it's a far stretch if he makes the Olympic team in Italy. Hopefully,
Fingers crossed.
Hopefully, I mean, honestly, hopefully it does, because that would be really good for hockey. I mean, not so great for Canada, but Florida's in a very tough spot. They're doing worse than the Leafs, which is crazy.
Yeah.
We'll get to the Leaf season shortly. But yeah, they're in a tough spot. I think for Florida, they just have to make the playoffs, because Brad Marchand, he's had a resurgence of a year. He's had to be like their best forward, him and Sam Reinhart. Sam Reinhart, he even had a slow start. He's picking it up now. I think they're really finding their identity without their two best forwards for sure. Because recently they've been kind of turning it up a little bit, especially led by Reinhart and Marchand on the forward end. And even Anton Lundell, he's had a pretty decent season too, like filling in for the number one center role. But yeah, they're in a tough spot, very tough spot. And like we were just talking about it off camera, if they make the playoffs, Barkov might be back by then. Might be.
Yeah.
No salary cap, Tkachuk, he might be back by then. I mean, he should be back by then, hopefully sooner for him. And so, yeah, if they make the playoffs, that very well still could happen, because, undefeated in the playoffs in series-wise the last 2 years, right? So that could still happen, but right now it's not looking like they're going to make it.
Well, that's the thing. I was looking up So they came third in the Atlantic last year. It was a tight race because Ottawa, they had 97 points. Florida had 98. So Florida basically was a wild card team last year. And like you said, they kind of just need to make the playoffs because Florida, we've all seen. I mean, you're a Habs fan. We're Leafs fans, so we're super salty. You're a Habs fan. But, like, Florida doesn't get called for things. Florida, they make the playoffs. They can play their style of hockey. And 7 games, I don't care how good a team is, that wears you down.
Mm-hmm.
So I still think Florida, if they do make the playoffs, it's anyone's guess. They are definitely a huge threat. Because if we're looking at the Eastern Conference this year, as much as the Atlantic is probably the most competitive division, I still think the Stanley Cup champion's coming out of the West. I think it's going to be one of maybe 4 teams this year. We have the Knights, we have the Avalanche, who have been incredible, the Stars, and then we have the Oilers, of course.
Yeah, I think the Avalanche this year are probably the best regular season team since the Boston team that lost to Florida in the first round, evidently. Ironically enough,
you could say so.
Right? I mean, that was like statistically, points-wise, the best regular season team of all time. Don't think Colorado's that great.
They're pretty
but
great.
They're pretty great. At least beat them at home. No big deal.
That was a really electric win.
That was
an electric
and then
win.
And then I don't think we've won a game since. So
We'll take every game in overtime, though.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus.
But I have the Dallas Stars. Currently, they're second in their division. I didn't expect the Avalanche to be this good, to be honest with you.
No, neither did I.
Like, I knew they were good. It's the Avalanche. It's McKinnon and Makar, who are probably number 2 and number 3 in terms of best players in the world right now. And still, they've just been great. Their goaltending has been really good. Obviously, that huge stint at home where they didn't lose a game, go Leafs go. But I think it genuinely is between the two of them. I don't know if McDavid can turn it on this year. It's going to be really tough for McDavid this year, I think.
Yeah, we'll get to Edmonton when we talk about our Canada team, but I wholeheartedly agree with that. I don't know how much success Edmonton's going to find in the playoffs because they're going to have to run through at least one of Minnesota, Dallas, or Colorado.
Oh, and I didn't even mention Minnesota, who've also been really
right?
good because obviously they got the second best defenseman in the world in Quinn Hughes.
Yeah, exactly. Switching over to my pick for Vegas. Vegas is a very interesting team. If you look at their record, I believe they have more losses than wins. Let me just fact check that very, very quickly.
They've gone to overtime like every game.
Like if you combined overtime losses and losses, I believe that number combined is more than wins they have this year.
Producer Anthony on that one, I think.
It is.
Yeah, they have, so combining overtime and regulation losses, they have 25 losses, 24 wins. They're 24, 13, and 12. So a bit of an odd team, which obviously the overtime losses, they count for a point, but in the playoffs, it's win-loss.
Yeah,
right?
That's right.
Like, you don't get an extra point in the playoffs, obviously. You just lose. So when you look at that stat, not boding well for Vegas right now, but they still have Jack Eichel, who is by far the best player on that team. I don't care what anyone says. Mitch Marner, who's hovering around a point per game, which still fantastic point per game players. But like you said, kind of an off year. He's always been around the 100-point mark for the past few years, and now he's kind of probably going to be hovering around the 85-point mark. But then, yeah, I mean, they really have a top 6, which is great with Barbashev and Hurdle and Mark Stone and everything. But really, other than that, they're not that great. But as of recording this, they did just trade for Rasmus Anderson like the other day. So I believe this is his playing the Leafs tonight on Friday. We're recording this on Friday the 23rd. I believe this is Rasmus Anderson's first game as a Vegas Golden Knight. So maybe he'll get the ship turned around for their decor, but
I'm gonna have to disagree with you on this. In terms of the talent that their roster has, like obviously they have an amazing top 6. We know that. When we watched that game, I was looking at it, I was like, holy, this is a scary team. Mm-hmm. I don't think every guy has performed like they should, but the addition of Anderson now, like the fact that you have Anderson, Theodore, and Hannafin, and Braden McNabb.
Mm-hmm. One of the best defensive defensemen in the league, for sure.
Exactly. And
William Karlsson, he's been injured all year. And then, I think the thing with Vegas that's really plagued them looking at their stats here has been their goaltending. They don't have a single goaltender with a save percentage over 900. Not a single one. Akira Schmidt has started the most game for him for that team, and he is batting an .896.
I don't like that I started this batting thing. I wish I could take it back.
Yeah, Aiden Hill, he has been injured all year. He's only started 7 games, but he only had an .873 save percentage. Carter Hart.
It's Vegas. They're evil.
Exactly, and the notorious bad guy. We won't get into that. He's only started 12 games, and he ain't looking good. He's got an .871. So the goaltending for Vegas has not been good at all. Rasmus Anderson might be able to help with that because he is a very good defender.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, Vegas, again, kind of like Florida, they just need to make the playoffs, and anything can happen with that team.
They're also they're still first in the division. I know they lost a lot of OT games, but I meant to say it earlier. Playoff OT is a lot different.
Oh, yeah.
It's
sure.
3-on-3 versus 5-on-5 and the playoff atmosphere. If I'm Vegas, I'm not super worried right now. Stanley Cup final, maybe a reach with how their goalies are performing, but I think they're in a bit of a different situation than Florida.
I think you're definitely right on that point for sure. I think they play in the easiest division in the NHL, like you just said, which does help them and their record. However, they are a team. Sorry,
Pardon me. They would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They would be 6th in the Atlantic right now.
Yeah, they would, which is crazy. Crazy. That's so dumb.
It's so dumb, man.
So
dumb. It's so dumb.
But, at the same time, they still have a great roster.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they're a team where if they get healthy and they hit a hot streak heading into playoffs, that's a team that can easily beat a wild card team like the Mammoth or the Kraken, who are the 2 wild card teams in the West, easily beat them in a playoff series. And then they're probably going to be playing Edmonton or Anaheim. I would take Vegas over either of those teams in a 7-game series this season, 10 days out of 10. So I think they have a pretty decent chance at making it to at least the second round, if not the third round of the playoffs this year.
Yeah.
Okay, that was a lot of conversation.
That was a bit of a tangent
was a
where Elias
tangent.
was just soaking it all in.
I was just soaking it all in, very much listening and disagreeing with Leno.
It's just
Okay, why don't we move on now to my favorite part of this podcast episode and segment where we get to talk about your power rankings of the Canadian teams. Because, let's put it this way, there's been a lot of changes this year. Why don't we start with the most important part of this? The Montreal Canadiens are the best Canadian team this year.
I'm just going
I
to...
wouldn't
they
have
are
that
performing the best so far.
That's a
So
much
far.
better way to put it.
so far. Yes, the best Canadian team so far.
I'm just going to say this before anyone else says this. I had the Senators being better than the Montreal Canadiens. Don't say anything. I was wrong. I will be man enough to admit that. That was an awful take. I thought Brady Tkachuk and Tim Stützle would have been a bit better than they're performing this year. I would have thought Linus Ullmark wouldn't be bad at goalie this year. And I thought that Jake Sanderson would have solidified himself as like a top 10 defenseman in the league. Didn't do that, at least not yet. So I will eat crow.
You got to stop with eat crow.
And I will admit that I was wholeheartedly wrong by calling the Ottawa Senators better than the Montreal Canadiens heading into this year. I'm sorry to all Habs fans, and especially to you, Elias.
Thank you for that. Let me put it to you this way. That's like, well, when did we record these last few videos? They were like months
I think it was
ago now, 'cause we were-
mid-September.
It was
Yeah.
early September.
Yeah, early September.
I told you
Yeah.
back then you were wrong. You finally come to fruition that you were wrong. So thank you for admitting that. So,
Well-
Yeah.
listen, I've had my fair share of bad takes too, but that one.
No kidding.
I heard this.
Just wait till this guy gets started on Vladdy.
Grass is green kind of thing.
Yeah,
So
jeez.
anyway.
Well, I think it's worth mentioning that Simon for weeks was like on my case about my list. And why don't you, Elias, read out
Yes.
our list and then read out what's actually going on, then we can
Yeah,
discuss.
that's a good idea. Okay, so Sammy, I will start with your list. You had Edmonton on top, which is a totally fair take. Back then. And it's still kind of. The Leafs at second.
Whoops.
Ma-
Didn't think they'd be that bad.
Montreal third. Winnipeg 4. Ottawa 5. Vancouver 6. And Calgary 7. And don't you dare do any hand gestures. Simon, your list. Edmonton. You also had Edmonton
You invited
first.
that one.
Yeah, I didn't even think of it.
Yeah.
Didn't even think of it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
yeah. I guess I said it in the correct way anyway. Simon, your list went as follows: Edmonton first, the Leafs second, similar to what you had, Sammy. The Jets in third.
Ooh.
Ottawa in fourth.
Ooh.
Montreal in fifth. Then the
Ooh.
Canucks. Then the Flames. Now here is how the standings look so far. We're about midway through the season, give or take.
Just just a bit more. Yeah.
Maybe a little more.
Maybe
now, right?
one could say about 5/8.
5-8. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
50 games of
All the
82.
mathematicians out there, you can double check.
One could say you're about 51 or 52 out of 82.
It's 60%.
Yeah, so
So we can just say that.
In first place, the Montreal Canadiens with 63 points.
Not gonna last. Don't worry about it.
But look, I don't think they're gonna. I think Tampa's gonna win the Atlantic, but I think they're gonna have a top 3 spot.
I meant for Canadian teams, they're not gonna
Oh.
end up in first.
Yeah, I
It'll
can see
probably be Edmonton.
And, well, maybe the Leafs, but I can definitely see it.
We're closing the gap. We're
What
closing the
can you
gap.
say? Well, you know, if Montreal keeps losing the freaking Buffalo, then you guys are gonna close the gap all the way. Like, it can't happen.
Buffalo apparently the best team in the world sometimes.
Yeah, I don't know. Buffalo's playing out of their mind right now. Kudos to them.
Yeah. Anyway, continue.
Edmonton in second, 58 points. Then we have the Leafs at 57 in third. Ottawa, 53 in fourth. So, not too shallow. Kind of, yeah, but not too shabby, I suppose, in the grand scheme of things. Winnipeg, 47.
a disaster
Yeah.
show in Winnipeg.
And you know why?
It's a disaster.
It's because Hellebuck hasn't been able to be a superhero. I was watching the Leafs Jets game the other day. Also, that overtime goal from Max Domi, where Hellebuck never thought that pass was going across, or at least he thought the pass was coming back, because he thought Matthew shot the entire time. He looked like he's never put on skates before on that goal. But I looked. They showed the stats on the broadcast of I believe it was either the third period stats or down by 1 or up by 1 stats, and he's always been like a 920 guy, and he couldn't keep it above 900. He was at like 890 something.
Wow.
Which is like, when you don't have the best goalie in the world, I've been saying for years, the Jets are frauds. They don't have that good a team. They just have the best goalie in the world, and when he's not playing good,
usually in the playoffs.
fingers crossed, let's keep that going.
Yeah.
Let's keep that going. And if Jake Ottinger wants to temporarily, for like 3 weeks, tear his ACL, that'd be fine too. When he's not playing amazing, the Jets are not good.
You want to see something crazy about the Winnipeg Jets? I've just pulled up their stats right here.
Sure.
Mark Scheifele having a great season. We'll talk about Olympic rosters. Maybe got a bit snubbed there. 61 points in 50 games. Maybe the best season of his career for sure. Great player. Kyle Connor, we know what he can do. He's great.
He's kind of, for his standards, he's kind of having a down
a
year.
little bit. Not as goal proficient, I guess. Even though he's still on pace for 40 goals, which is, but for his standards, maybe not as great as you would like to see from him. Oh, that was the chair. I thought I thought
keeping you up,
I thought
Elias?
It's just chill. You know what? I can't even hear with these headphones on, so I'm probably talking really loud, and then I move back, and the freaking chair is like.
I thought you ripped the worst fart I've ever heard, and it was the leather chair. Anyway, Gabe Velarde, he's having a breakout year in his. Yeah, you do that.
Starting out with the Gabe Velarde thing.
Anyway, Gabe Velarde, he's having a very good year, almost at a point per game. Josh Morrissey, he's still one of the best offensive defensemen in the league. So Gabe Velarde, 50 games, 42 points. He is the 4th leading scorer on Winnipeg. 5th place, Alex Iafallo, 50 games, 19 points.
Wow.
The drop-off of, basically not the first line and their top defenseman is crazy. It's crazy. Cole Perfetti.
He's only played 36 games, because I was thinking the exact same thing.
But still, he's below a half a point per game, which is, you don't even see that. Jonathan Toews.
Okay.
Jonathan Toews is, their 4th best forward right now.
Yeah, that's not good.
Which is crazy. I mean, I love Jonathan Toews. I don't think
I wouldn't. Well, when we're looking at it, he has 4 more points than Perfetti in almost 20 more games.
What is the Charles Barkley quote? The best ability is availability. Charles Barkley.
So you're saying So you're saying
No,
that
I'm just
Keith Yandel
kidding. I'm just
and
kidding.
Phil Kessel are better than Connor McDavid.
Okay, well, I mean,
Well, that's the best ability.
no, well, I mean, I believe his context was talking about Joel Embiid and Anthony Davis. So,
Two guys who suck at basketball.
let's see you get out there. Shooter.
One guy. See, Simon made this argument the other day because I forgot what we were talking about. But he said, "Let's see you go and do it." And I'm like, "Well, it's not my job. I'm not getting paid millions upon millions of dollars to go shoot a little rubber disc around or a basketball."
Rubber disc. Oh, like the puck, rubberized falcon.
Falconized rubber.
Is that what it is?
Vulcanized rubber.
Vulcanized.
Yeah,
we got there.
Okay,
At the end.
Elias, we kind of got on a tangent again about the Jets, but finish the list.
No kidding. Okay. So, of course, Winnipeg was in 5th, 47 points. Calgary, 6th place, also 47 points, excuse me. And the Vancouver Canucks in dead last, 37 points. That's it for the Canucks. I mean, wow.
Yeah, you go ahead.
Okay, so our bottom two is obviously, they were flip-flop, but basically correct.
Yeah.
I don't know about you guys, but I thought if Quinn Hughes was going to be traded, it would be either before the season or at the deadline. I never thought it would be a mid-season,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
just random Tuesday or whatever, the second best defenseman in the league would get traded. And like since then, I have a friend who's a Canucks fan, and I was just like, I texted him the day of. I was like, hey man, it's gonna be a tough go for a little bit. They are a disastrous organization, and the Flames aren't good either. The Flames head coach used ChatGPT to make the lineup one of the nights.
Yeah, that's
like,
cra-
what are
that's-
we doing?
that's crazy.
What do we do? Like, I'm pretty sure we said Canadian hockey is like,
Yeah,
like
that's
the
right, we did.
best of where it's been, but
Best years, yeah.
there's been so many like the Jets obviously are the big losers of this,
They won the President's Trophy last year.
and they're garbage, right?
Well, that's unfortunate.
They've been really, really bad. The Leafs have been really, really bad by their standards. The Sens, nowhere near as good as they used to be. There's only really one team that's like kind of playing above what we thought, and that is the Canadians.
Yeah,
Realistically.
100%. Even Edmonton, their record isn't what maybe it should be. They are still second in the Pacific. We've already talked about the weak Pacific Division.
It's so unfair.
It's very
so
dumb.
The Leafs would be third in that division, guys.
Why have Buku?
I
Make
was-
the playoffs and they'll be fine. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. There's not that many games left.
yeah. We're running out of time quick.
half the season, we said.
I said 30 earlier, and I was like, that's not that many games
yeah, right?
anymore.
And like maybe 8 of them are home games as well because we played
Yeah.
so many at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, it's gonna be a tough go.
But talking about Vancouver and Calgary, although Vancouver is the worst team in the league this year, I would honestly rather be a part of, rooting for the Canucks than the Flames. I think they are in a better position because right now they are fully committed to the rebuild. This didn't work. Blow it up.
They got back in the Hughes trade.
Well, that's just going to say.
Williams?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And they got a first-round pick as well. That was a pretty nice return for sure.
An expected return, though. When you're
Yeah,
just one
well,
of the best
exactly.
players in
And they
hockey.
got Rossi as well, who's a really good.
That was a good pickup.
That's
That
a
was
very good
definitely a
pickup. I believe he's only 23, maybe 24 years old. That's a very good pickup for them. Whereas the Flames, you think of their young players, Connor Zary, is he their best young player on that team? Oh, well, obviously, Zane Parekh
You
is
could
on
say
that
they.
team.
I was gonna say Wolf was incredible last year. I don't know how he's really doing this year.
And now that they've traded Rasmus Anderson, that's the first big fall.
The Flames' best player right now is Nazem the Dream.
Which he might get traded as well.
He should, because he still has a little bit of time left. Like the highest points on their team right now is 34, and that's Nazem Kadri in 50 games. Like they are just bad.
So it talks about Kadri coming to Montreal.
I think there have been more talks about him coming back home.
I would. I would. Because
Kadri's a Leaf.
Kadri was one of my favorite players growing up. I always liked him. I always thought that he got like a bad rep because he'd sneeze and George Peros would give him 15 games. Like, there's been times where like Jacob Trouba has like actually committed like manslaughter on someone, and then they're like, okay, what we'll do, we'll give Trouba a $5,000 fine, and Kadri, you get 8 games. And Kadri wasn't even playing that night. Like, it's so crazy. You know, Kadri was this is so unrelated. Kadri was the only player ever to receive a non-specific amount of games for suspension. In that Bruins series, they just said you can't play the Bruins anymore. That's never happened.
Wow.
That's never happened. And I wonder why. No, but going back to what I was saying, he's a Leaf. He grew up in the Marley system, grew up playing for the Leafs. He was one of my favorite, such an electric player.
You guys met him. You and Anthony
we
met
him. Me
Cut
and
to
Anthony
that photo
met
right
him.
now.
Cut to that photo right now. And I'll never forget that shootout goal against, I believe it was the Penguins. I want to say it was Fleury. Hekadash. And if he puts on a Montreal Canadiens uniform, I think I would have to like
That'd be
never
really
watch
bad.
a Habs game ever again.
I would not like
And
that.
they're fun games to watch.
I don't think they're gonna actually pursue him, but I think that there's been some talks, some rumors about it.
Yeah. What happened to Huberdeau too? Remember when he was good at
Oh,
hockey?
man.
In 44 games, he has 21 points.
Poor Jonathan Huberdeau. I think he had 109 points or 106.
The same Jonathan Huberdeau who in 2021-22 had 115 points.
Wow. My word. And then Matthew Tkachuk changed the franchise. That's crazy. What a trade that was for Florida. What an awful trade that was for Calgary
At
in
the
hindsight.
time,
I
I
thought Calgary
remember.
won because they also got Mackenzie Weegar.
Yeah, at the time people were like Florida, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, what a brain dead move. Florida knew.
Florida knew. Let's if I may take the hosting job for just a split second again, I would love to talk about the Toronto Maple Leafs for just a little bit.
Just because this is going to be a bit of a rant, I just want to point out, I know you apologized for it earlier. I edited the TikTok version of our rankings, and the amount of time that Simon spent that I cut off to flaming my list. Flaming.
That's pretty good.
Thanks, Sam.
Pretty good. Oh, yeah.
And the amount of time when I said the Senators 5th, and right now they are 4th. When I said them as 5th, Simon looked at me like I had 8 ears. He was like, "Are you brain dead?" He used the word brain dead. I remember that. He used the word brain dead. He got mad at me for not putting the Jets 3rd as well. And he said that the Habs in 3 was ludicrous.
So I guess an apology isn't enough for Sammy.
No, because he knew I'd talk about it. And I've been every night I look at the standings and I look
And he thinks about
and I've
me
been
every night.
licking
in
my
bed.
chops waiting for this video.
The opportunities come back to you, Sammy.
I was really hoping that the Leafs would do a little bit better, so I'd have like
Oh
a
my God.
really, really solid list. But
Okay, let's talk about the Leafs for like 2 minutes here. Okay, each of you will have 1 minute, and that'll be that, and you'll each have your say. How about that?
I'm going to go first because I think Sammy wants to explode on the Leafs. I'm just going to keep mine as tame as I possibly can. What are you doing? No, I'm kidding. No, the Leafs they're an interesting case. They had a very slow start, obviously. A lot of home games. Didn't really look like they were ready to play any game. I was at the Winnipeg game where they came back and Austin Matthews had a hat trick. Electric game. Since then, they've been playing a lot better. Maybe their record doesn't quite reflect that, but by watching them, I thought they played with a lot more passion, a lot more pep in their step, for sure. And that is entirely carried from the fact that Austin Matthews took him a little bit to get going, but he is really carrying this team, especially with William Nylander being hurt recently. He has really stepped up and really fulfilled his captain duties, where at the beginning of the year, he wasn't doing that. We have a lot of guys recently come up, like Scott Lawton. He's been playing out of his mind. And we can't forget my dad.
we can't forget Simon's dad.
We can't forget Simon's dad. We can't forget, a little context to this. My dad, he had a lunch, him and a few of his coworkers, he had like a big lunch, and Craig Berube was like the guest speaker at this big luncheon for his work. And obviously someone asked him about the Leafs, and Craig Berube's thing was like, well, and this was in like late November, he was like, well, I haven't been able to put together our best lineup because of injuries. which is wholeheartedly true. I'm not trying to make excuses for them, but they have been
Okay, continue.
they have been plagued by the injury bug a little bit as well. So, all things considered, a bad performance for sure. We knew that this team is going to take a step back without Marner being on the top line 100% and Nylander being injured as much as he has. Nyes, he's been doing great. Easton Cowan, he's been very surprising, kind of filling in that third line, maybe even second line left wing role for the team, maybe even sometimes playing center. I love the fact that Max Domi's no longer playing center. Took us 3 years to figure that out. But
Thank goodness.
That's besides the point. So, yeah, I think this team, this season for the Leafs, it adds a bit of grit and a bit of character, which I think they've been lacking recently. The past few years, the regular season hasn't really mattered for the Leafs. Even for Leafs fans, they've been like, regular season doesn't matter, just get to the playoffs. And I think the Leafs took that a bit too much to heart and opened the season that way, where they thought, we're just going to make the playoffs. They're realizing now, without Mitch Marner and with all these injuries, they have to really, really try a lot harder in the regular season, which they have not done for the past however many years it's been. Not to say they don't try, but you know exactly what I mean. So I think this year it's adding some character to them. They're going through some lumps. I still think they're going to make the playoffs, but like we're saying, they are running out of time. That's my rant. Sammy, go ahead.
I don't know if they will make the playoffs, and it's not because of the way they're playing. The Atlantic Division is probably the best it's been in many years, and not because it has the top level of talent. I said earlier, before we started recording to Elias, I said I think the Atlantic Division is the best division in hockey. I don't know if that's actually true, but it is definitely the most competitive division. Only 14 points separate number one and the last one in the Red Wings and the Senators. Like I said, the Leafs would be in a playoff spot in other divisions, in the wild card, in most other in the West, they'd be in a wild card spot. They would be fourth in the Metro. And there's a couple players that I think are to blame. Max Domi is like the most inconsistent player, I think, on planet Earth. I know you mentioned we took him off center.
Thank God.
Thank God. But the problem is, I was talking about this with one of Simon's buddies. Max Domi kind of just needs to play his role. He's not Nylander, and I think sometimes he thinks he's Nylander because Nylander is actually Jesus Christ, and he's not. Max Domi is the guy that needs to play that gritty role, be first in or the supporting like F2, and fight people, play bigger than you are, and he has done that a couple times. His shot percentage, which is not a stat that I look at often, is horrendous.
What is it?
It's one of the lowest on the team. I'll pull it up here. His shot percentage is 7.8. He averages one of the most ice times in terms of forward. But moving off of Max Domi, Matthew Knies has had a great season. There's also been games where I've thought Matthew Knies has looked invisible or abysmal. We need Matthew Knies to take that big step, but also he's kind of been bumped off the first line. We've seen a lot of games where it's been Michelli and Domi with Matthews rather than Knies with Matthews. And so I think that's a bit of a misuse of Matthew Knies' skill set. But Bobby McMahon as well, we also kind of needed him to take that big step, and he's like half a point per game, kind of just not really what we need him to be. Our goaltending being injured, like we have
Joseph Wall being out for the first bit of the year was really tough.
Hildeby's been incredible.
He has been.
For what he is. He's a goalie that's never started this many games in the NHL. Obviously, he's a AHL starter, and he's been fantastic. We now have 3 bona fide starting goalies, and that's kind of what we need because Stolarz can't play that many games. Clearly, it ruined him. He's been like he's just starting his first game in months. Legitimately today, on the day we record this against the Vegas Golden Knights. Joseph Wall, he's not equipped to play this many games as well. He will get injured. And then Hildeby is left picking up the pieces. He's been like the constant. Injuries have plagued the Leafs, yes. The regular season, they played the same that they've been playing years prior, but it all comes down to the Atlantic Division being way better than it. Where's Detroit? Why is Detroit so good? I know I said it as my breakout team.
And can Tampa
calm
down for God's sake?
9-0-1 in the last 10.
They had a 13-game win streak or something.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah, they did a really good job there.
When the Leafs were 8-1-1 or 8-0-2, 8-0-2 in their last 10, there were 2 teams in the Atlantic that had 9-game win streaks.
Yeah.
It was Tampa at the time and Buffalo at the time. And Tampa in their last 10, 9-0-1. The Leafs are playing well as of late. This last 2 months, or let's say month or
Month
so,
or
have been
so.
really good. They've either won or gone to overtime and lost in majority of their games. But we can't do anything when everyone else in the Atlantic is winning every time they play. I was looking at this standings this morning. The Red Wings 7-2-1 in their last 10. Tampa 9-0-1. Sabres 7-2-1. Bruins 8. Where'd they come from? 8-2-0. Canadians 6-3-1. We at 5-2-3, which isn't great, but like you can say that the Leafs have been playing pretty solid the last little while.
13 out of 20 available points. That's not bad. That's not a bad point percentage.
That's not bad at all. That's the worst record aside from the Senators in
The Atlantic Division.
in the
last
Atlantic
10.
Division the last 10. The Panthers are 5-5-0, but whatever, it's the Panthers. That is so. How do you compete with that? You have an over 500 points percentage, and it's not even like touching what the other teams have done in their last 10.
Yeah. Jinx, you owe me a Coke.
What? Also, why do all the teams we like have to be in the hardest division in sports? We got
Oh,
the
my
Atlantic,
God,
and we
don't-
got the AL East.
We'll get to that in another episode.
Well, listen, thank you guys for coming on today, providing your insights about where your predictions have gone. I mean, we may have to do this again at the end of the regular season to see
Totally.
how they've really lived up, and by then we'll have a lot more clarity about which teams are going to the playoffs and which teams are not. So
I feel like I've lost weight during this episode.
you've lost weight.
Definitely lost weight from the summer. Take a look at that body in the pool
Yeah.
videos.
Hey, me and you both.
Hey, man.
Should we get a side-by-side comparison?
Oh God, we
There
don't
are
need
some
that.
tough
We
angles.
there are
There are
some
some
tough
tough
angles.
Look
angles.
at me, you're gonna
What?
say, "Oh, he's gained a few pounds." Over
Yeah.
there, you know,
I'd hope so. From 12 to 15, maybe.
Yeah.
There you go. Anyway, that'll do it for this episode of the Six Hockey Podcast. Once again, thank you to Sammy Brzezowski and Simon Hendricks for joining me. I've been your host, Elias Strakos. Thanks so much. Take care.